money that comes to the township has been allocated towards that, with the exception of the money that's being spent by our planning commission to research this issue, which we would research any issue that comes forward.
Okay, so, but it is subsidized, right? It's gotta be.
I believe so.
Well, for that particular, for my position, again, I don't care, I think it's the right thing to have a lot of alternate power and energy coming into this country, but it should be paid for by the people that are gonna benefit from it the most, putting it in. I don't know why we're paying for it.
I don't think, sir, that that's an issue that issue is well beyond the scope of this board.
It surely is. I just thought it'd come down here, and that's my only complaint about it.
Very good. Anything else?
Oh,
Thank you.
thank you.
Who's next? Well, we're not going to spend very much time between speakers, so if you'd like to speak.
All right, I'll wait. Laura Van Camp, 6867 Scott Highway, Palmyra Township resident. Just wanted to address what he had to say. Obviously, it is heavily subsidized. I don't have the facts and figures. Josh might have those, but it would make one to question that if it's such a good idea, why would it need to be subsidized? That's how private industry works. If it makes money and it's smart, then people would definitely invest in it on their own. They wouldn't need the taxpayers to pay for it. I just want to say one little thing about the reconsidering of the zoning ordinance amendment. I truly hope that it will be more considered this time, and I'm hoping that there's some information that's going to be provided to the board and to us as to how it actually works. I know I had asked that at the last meeting. You know, what the rules technically are on how it works, and you know, what regulations we have to follow in order to take advantage of it. And just real quick, I know this isn't township board, obviously it's still planning commission, but just as a note of why I think so. Here's a copy I was provided with of the public policy, public inquiries and complaints, and you probably can't see to detail, I'm going to make copies, how many different things that I think need to be addressed, that there are holes so big I could drive a truck through, as to probably what I would say is the most important part of this entire thing is how to handle when something isn't going right with the project and people are unhappy or their quality of life is suffering. So just the idea that there's this much out there that we still haven't covered, it really, really needs to be put on hold, and we really need to take more time than they're seriously considered planning on taking. So.
Anything else?
No.
Thank you. Anyone else?
My name is Gary Hindy, 7100 Craig Road, Blissfield. I work on the turbines in Texas. You were asking about the state taxes. Well, one thing is you don't pay state taxes in Texas. So I can tell you your state taxes aren't going towards them. I haven't paid a state tax out of my paycheck, if that's what you're asking. So I don't understand what you're asking is the difference between paying for these out of state money if we were to, and me paying for somebody's welfare check out of my state taxes. So either way, you're still getting screwed. And number two, whatever you have on there, the noise is what I've heard is a big, there's no noise. If you want to hear them, I have videos. You can listen to them. You can put them up. There is no noise. You're gonna hear the wind, of course. There's no noise that everybody's so scared, oh, you're gonna hear for miles. Yes, they're tall. So are the skyscrapers. So are the silos that you look out my back window and you see. Just because they're 300 feet in the air does not mean you have to be afraid. And I know everybody's afraid while the aviation lands. I was asked a question from Doug about the medevac. You know, what about the helicopters? I work on a site that we have Air Force 20 miles in one direction, Coast Guard 10 miles in the other, and we have choppers flying through our site all day. There's no problems with choppers. You don't have any problems with it. You're not going to have a problem with one medevac running through there once a month. So if there's any, I don't know what other questions or what you have on your paper that you're so afraid of, but just be open-minded. Don't just be closed-minded and get on to Northwest Wind Watch and read what they write. If you want to know the facts, then find somebody that knows them. Don't go on and just start reading, oh, it kills birds and the height's horrible and the sounds bad, because it's not.
Have you been on DeKalb turbines
I
block
work on
spot?
them. I work on them.
These people live underneath of them.
I've talked to people that live under them. I live in a town that is produced by it. And everybody's worried, well, what are we going to pay?
30
Well-
seconds.
Well, I can tell you, my electric bill has went down 2.5 cents since I switched to wind energy. 2.5 cents a kilowatt. So, I mean, that's just a brief. I mean, I work on them. Yeah, how much you're gonna get for your house in 50 years might go down, but it's not gonna be a dramatic increase for anybody to notice.
Here,
Consider this
Yes.
what is your job for the winter?
Electrical technician,
And is that?
electrical troubleshooting.
Does that require you to go up in the hub?
Yeah,
And how many turbines on the site where you work?
118.
What town is that in Texas?
Sarita.
Who'd like to be next? Josh?
I'll go.
This sheet up there.
Josh Van Camp, Ogden Township. My sister lives here in Palmyra, so I'm here tonight for her. Just real quick to the gentleman that asked the question about the subsidies. We are both paying for it as taxpayers. Government right now has, I believe it's about a 30% subsidy that goes back towards the cost of construction, the turbines. That subsidy expires at the end of the year, which is part of the reason these companies are so gung-ho about trying to get this thing done here by the end of the year. They have to break ground by the end of this calendar year or they don't qualify for that money. So without that government money, the turbines are not a profitable endeavor. The other part of that too, as a ratepayer, all of us pay, I think it's maybe 3 and some change in renewable energy surcharge on your bill. So you're paying for the turbines on a monthly basis as well. A couple other things just real quick, just for the board. Remind you, I think I mentioned it before, but if I hadn't, here on the 14th at your Planning Commission meeting, the IICC is going to sponsor Dr. Jerry Punch, who is the chairman of the audiology department at Michigan State University, to come down and talk about the health impacts related to wind turbines. I think most of his stuff, relates to sleep issues and nighttime noise issues. Dr. Punch is also the chairman of the Michigan Public Service Commission's Wind Health Impacts Group that's looking at rewriting the regulations here in the state of Michigan. He's going to come down and give a presentation on an article he wrote for the Audiology Journal. I think it's called Audiology Today, and it's a study on wind turbines and their effects, basically telling other audiologists what they should be looking for as people come in. So that's 7 o'clock on the 14th, so I encourage you, if you're available, to come out and hear that resource. The other thing to remind you about too, on June 11th, which is a Saturday, at Christian Family Center, we have the screening of the movie Windfall, the Laura Israel documentary. It looks at a community in upstate New York, a farming community where the turbines came in, or wanted to come in, and the issues that kind of came along with that. And it looks at another community in the same general area that did have the turbines come in. There you go. So you already got it. So just a reminder. Couple things. Laura touched a little bit about reconsidering the moratorium. Like I said, these guys want to get this thing in here as soon
30 seconds.
as soon as possible. That doesn't mean that you should put the health, safety, and welfare of your residents above their financial concerns. I don't think we should be afraid of anything, but I think we should be informed. And it's somewhat disturbing that at various times during the planning commission meeting, people on the commission are appealing to members of the wind company saying, does that sound right to you? Does that sound about right? Instead of giving them, if we had more time, they would be able to research those issues for themselves to determine the truthfulness of those statements instead of relying on outside parties to have a financial stake in the outcome.
I've got a couple of questions for Josh.
Sure.
The gentleman you had come to the meeting on the 14th, did you run that by
Yes.
Chairman Leonard?
Yes.
Okay.
I have one question, being as you referred to my initial
Sure.
statement. Why on earth should we, as taxpayers or as a Palmyra Township person, support any program that's subsidized by the government, i.e. tax dollars, to a tune of 30%? Why should we do that?
Okay, I'd like to address that, okay?
If I can take a stab as well.
You're done.
All right. Okay, you can talk to me afterwards.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely will.
Love to address your
Because
question.
right now you don't have my vote, but.
We don't get a vote, that's.
Why? We're gonna go on with public comment here, okay, and I got a couple of questions about that towards the end, so. Does anybody else want to speak during the public comment period? Yes, sir.
I'm John Bullock from Exelon Wind. I live in Heartland, Michigan. I just wanted to take a minute. I understood that tonight you were going to reconsider the issue of the wind energy moratorium. I just wanted to, again, come and reiterate our request that you not implement a moratorium on wind energy at this time. We've been tracking the ordinance process closely in Palmyra Township, and as well as, of course, in Raga Township and the activities in Ogden Township. And we appreciate all the effort that the Planning Commission is putting into developing an ordinance and preparing the ordinance. And we think with the folks you have working on the ordinance here, you can certainly put together an ordinance that's reasonable and will allow balanced wind farm development while protecting the health, safety, and welfare of the community. Just as far as, I guess as far as the subsidy issue, I'm not here to, debate subsidies as a general matter or anything like that, but I just thought I would mention to folks out there that our project, the Blissfield Wind Energy Project, that project, we have a long-term power purchase agreement established with Consumers Energy to buy power from that project for 20 years. And so that's how that project will be financed in those fees, those rates from Consumers Energy. And as far as construction of the project, that'll be financed through private individuals and companies who are involved with that. Our project, Blissfield Wind Energy Project, it was originally started by a group of local farmers and local investors, and they could certainly give you more information on that, the Great Lakes Wind Group. I mean, this project was originally formed by local investors to be good for the community. So that's all I wanted to say. Again, just thanks a lot for all the effort you're putting into the ordinance, and we look forward to working with the township through the process.
All right, John, thank you.
Anyone else?
I just want to ask a question. How will the wind energy affect the electric bill of the average guy out here? How's it going to affect my electric bill? Will it go up? Will it go down? I mean, just kind of an idea.
It's not going to affect your electric bill here
Okay.
at all compared to where it's at now.
Okay.
I mean, it's already factored into all the rates. I mean, the way the power companies do their pricing, they have to factor their, establish their rates going forward, and then they go through on a year-by-year basis. They go back and look at the actual cost for the power and adjust them. And the way it's going now, the actual price for the wind energy that's going to be generated in the state is coming in well below the original projections that were included in, from the utilities as part of the overall renewable portfolio standard plan in the state. So the experience so far is that the price for wind energy is actually decreasing, substantially from the original forecast.
John, thank you. Anyone else?